So starting from around 2009, 2010, private companies and private organizations started venturing into the real estate sector in Nigeria in the name of real estate companies. They started acquiring and selling properties to Nigerians, providing a more transparent and accountable way for different Nigerians to be able to own a property and also become a landlord. But in the past few years, we have started seeing reports and cases of different Nigerians that also bought from these so-called estate companies and still get scammed. So in this episode of Meet the Property Guy, we'll be looking at 5 different scams and frauds by some of these so-called property companies and real estate companies in Nigeria, and how you can easily avoid some of these scams. So if you are coming across a video like this for the first time, this is Meet the Property Guy Property channel, and this is where we discuss everything real estate here in Nigeria. Either you want to buy, invest or sell a property here in Nigeria, we share a lot of guides and advice on how you can go through this easily. So after watching this educative video, I would advise that you also go to our channel and also watch some of our previous guides. So let's go into the 5 different scams and frauds by some of these so-called real estate companies in Nigeria. The first most common fraud by these so-called property companies in Nigeria is what we call overselling. Now it may seem a bit strange, but it happens. Now when these estate companies, when they launch a new estate, the first thing they do is what we call a layout. A layout is where they divide the land in the estate into different plot sizes. Either it's 500 square meter and 300 square meter they are selling, or 600 square meter and 300 square meter they are selling. So with the layout, they know the entire available land they have there. Either it's 30 plots, or it's 40 plots, or it's 50 plots. But there have been several cases actually, reported by different Nigerians, where these estate companies, they actually sell more than the land that they are acquired. So they have 50 plots in the estate, some of them will sell 70 plots. They have 100 plots in the estate, some of them will sell 120 plots. You might now wonder how they are going to provide the land for those that are bought. Because if people bought 120 plots and you as a company only have maybe 100 plots or 90 plots there, how are you going to meet up the extra 20 or extra 30? Now, what most of these so-called property companies or real estate companies do is that they launch a phase 2 or phase 3 or phase 4 of these estates and move some of the buyers that bought phase 1 or phase 2 to this phase 3 or phase 4 in the name of maybe they didn't pay some fees or they didn't pay some charges. So what I always advise is that whenever you buy a property from a real estate company, particularly if you buy land, always try to pay these other fees that they charge for and get your physical allocation. Not just allocation on paper, but get a physical allocation and know the exact plot that is allocated for you. Because it's a very common scenario that these people, these estate companies, they might sell more than the units, the available units or the available plot they have in that estate. Now the second scam is almost a very popular fraud in Nigeria, which is using fake papers. Now using fake papers is almost in every industry in Nigeria, and it has also trickled into the real estate property industry also. Now what some of these property companies and real estate companies do in Nigeria is that when they are selling some of these estates, some of this land and some of these properties may not have complete papers yet. The acquisition might be in process, or some of these documents that they are processing, governor's consent might be in process, and other documents like that. What they now do is that they take another paper or another coordinate of a different property but in that same area with a perfect title and share that for people that want to buy in the estate. So when people that want to buy in the estate do a verification or do a charting with the coordinates that they are given, it's going to show that the estate or the property has genuine and already valid papers, whereas those coordinates and those papers belong to another property or even belong to another location. So one of the things that you need to do whenever you want to verify some of these estate company is that get a surveyor and get a very experienced property lawyer to actually visit the site and take the coordinates on the site. So by taking the coordinate on the site, they can do a charting and a verification on that exact coordinates, which will provide a more real and valid result on the exact title and the exact status of that land unlike the papers and the coordinates that some of these estate companies which they share with you. Now, the third common fraud by some property companies and some real estate companies here in Nigeria is when they tell you that the document is in view or is in process, like acquisition in process, CFO in view, ratification in view, and allocation in view, and other title documents like that. Now, some of these might be genuine. So in truth, the estate company or the property company might actually have already applied for these documents from the different Ministry of Land, and they might also truly be in the process of also obtaining these documents. But the challenge with buying this kind of property is that sometimes when these real estate companies, when they sell out this property, when they sold out the estate company, they also abandon the application process on these documents. So whatever stage at which the CFO or the governor's consent or the allocation or acquisition have got to, it remains like that for years. The estate company no longer have an urge to go on with perfecting these documents and also ensuring that these documents are also obtained. So which might also be a very high risk for people that bought in this estate, because if this document is not ratified and obtained, in the nearest future, 3, 4, 5 years later, there might be a need for you to provide these documents on that property, and this document is not out. Or there might even be a case on that property where the government likely want to do a compensation, but because the application is not completed and this document is not ratified, it might come down to you guys that bought in that estate to now carry the burden and take the responsibility of the inadequacies of the property companies or the real estate companies that you bought from. Now, the next one is hidden fees and charges. And this is one of the most common fears that a lot of people have in Nigeria about buying an estate property or buying in an estate. A lot of people will tell you that they are not comfortable with buying from an estate company because they always come with charges, or they always come with different fees at different times for you to pay. Although there are very reputable property companies and estate companies here in Nigeria that are very transparent with these different charges that comes with buying in their estates. They tell you what you have to pay for the legal fee, they tell you what you have to pay for the survey fee, they tell you what you have to pay for the infrastructure fee. Or some of these estate companies, they even go a bit higher and do what we call all-inclusive. So when they tell you 15 million is a plot, or 7.5 million is a half plot, they have already added all these other fees together, and once you pay that amount, you are not paying any other fee again. But there are still cases where people buy in an estate and several years later, these estate companies start coming up with different fees: service charge, administrator fee, building plan fee, architectural fee, and some of these other fees like that, which might just seem too much or too high for people that are bought in this estate. Another challenge with these hidden fees or these hidden charges is that some of these hidden charges are what is going to discourage a lot of buyers from actually developing their land or even asking for their land, which is the major mission or motive of some of these estate companies. They want you to buy, but they don't want you to ask for those land because you don't want to pay for development levy, or you don't want to pay for survey fee. So they can easily resell that land as much they can, while when you are ready for you to take possession of that land, they come up with the excuse that because you didn't pay these other fees, the charge for that is that you have to be allocated in another estate or you get a refund. Now, the last but not the least is when an estate company are being reluctant to give you allocation. When you buy a property from an estate company and you paid for the deed of assignment, which is the legal fee, and you paid for the survey, you are eligible to be allocated in that estate. You are eligible to know where your property is, either it's a house or is a land that you bought. If it's a house that you bought and it's off plan, they are usually going to give you a percentage where you have to pay either 70 or 75% for when you can get an allocation in the estate. But when after you have paid that percentage and the estate company or the property company is still being reluctant to give you allocation and tell you where exactly your property is in that estate, then there is something fishy, because it's likely that that property is no longer available. That's why they are reluctant to give you allocation. that party is sold out, or there are no available units for you, there are no available plots or available units of houses for you at that period of time, and you have already paid. So these are some of the frauds and scams that some of these estate companies that they do, which discourage a lot of Nigerians, both Nigerians here and Nigerians abroad, from buying from these estate companies. Now, but if you look at the advantage from buying from an estate company compared to buying from a family or community, then you are going to see that it's still, the advantages still beat the disadvantages. And some of these scams and the different frauds by some of these estate companies that I mentioned here are still easily avoidable too. The first way that you can avoid these scams is buy from reputable estate companies. I'm not going to mention names, but there are several reputable estate companies here in Nigeria that have delivered 1, 2, 3, 4 and several estates that people are already residing. So this gives you confidence that if they have delivered 1, 2, 3 estates where people don't have issues with them, then it's fine for you to also go on with dealing with them. There are several names now in the real estate market in Nigeria. There's just some property companies or some estate names that you just wonder that where is that one located again. So that's why you have to be very careful before you sign any paper or you buy from any estate company. Do your findings about the reputation of the company. Do your findings about their previous clients, the people that have bought from them before. Do a finding about their previous projects, which are different estates that they have handled before, how they deliver it, when they deliver it, and hope people don't have complaints or issues with them. Now, the easiest way for you to also avoid some of these common scams is that whenever you want to buy an estate company, an estate property, that is a land or is a house, always try to look to the documents that you are signing, the contract of sale, their FAQ, frequently asked questions. Most times they are going to detail some of the terms and conditions that bind the property purchase, that bind it to that property purchase. They tell you if it's an off-plan property that you are buying. They tell you when that project is likely to be delivered. They tell you what are the other fees that you are going to pay. So you need to know all this so that you know that you are fine with it, and so that when they start writing you, it's not going to seem like there is scam or there is fraud. Finally, that's it. That's the different 5 scams and 5 frauds by some of these estate companies here in Nigeria. So you just need to be careful and to be vigilant before you buy from any estate company. So try to do a background check on them, and you can also take some of that burden off you. You can tell us, you can reach us. Our WhatsApp contact is on the screen. You can tell us the exact property that you want to buy. You can tell us the location of that property and the estate company that is also managing that property. And we can also advise you based on the reputation of that property or of that estate company, or even some of the history that they have with some of their previous clients and some of their terms also, so that you know that you are fine with some of these regulations and just don't buy something that you regret later. So I see me, the number one property guy on the planet, your property advisor, your property consultant, Rabi Mustafa. Thanks for watching this video.